within our community, everyone is like really interested in funding, receiving funding. Truth be told, a lot of our startups are like very, very early stage. So they're even probably looking at like pre-seed or seed.
Yeah.
But given your experience, which is why I asked the question before about like how did you do it, I think I'd like to go more into like how you did it or like what advice you'd give to them maybe.
Yeah.
And even considering, you know, your platform also like facilitates that. I think you're the perfect sort of like person to really share on that.
Digitizes that. Yeah.
Digitize that, yeah. But I mean, share your knowledge as well.
Okay, so for anyone looking to fundraise, I think in our journey, what I've realized is if you have an idea, you truly believe in it, okay, then you can, if you go out to market and you rely on your first lead, and that first lead is going to say yes or no, but ask them for the next lead, and you're slowly going to be able to open these doors yourself. It's really up to you. No one is going to come and help you as a founder as much as you think. Other founders will help you, right? And they'll connect you. And that's what I mean by one lead to the next lead to the next lead. And try to exhaust your network, because there's a large ecosystem of investors out there. And if your idea is decent and has a fit, and you truly believe in it and you can explain it well, then you will be able to find the investors that you want and need. Okay. Now, going back to how would you go about doing that, the way we did it is friends and family, angels at the start, right? Smaller checks. We didn't have a Zest to help us, right? And so we just picked up these checks one by one. And then we used that as a benchmark to go to our first institution, then built the MVP and had the traction. Then we did seed, so pre-seed, seed, and then pre-A. And then I know I touched on that the seed was quite long-winded, but a pre-seed shouldn't take you that much time. Raise using safe notes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we did, right? Obviously, each founder has their own journey, but generally that's what we're seeing more so. And that's a quick one, right? And so you can basically, you're interested, send you, sign, execute, wire the money, you know?
Right.
So that's kind of the thinking that's there. Exhaust all your leads. There's always someone out there. And then as you go through your fundraising journey, learn from your previous pitch, what you did wrong, what you did well, take notes, and evolve your language. Because you're doing this for the first time. In your head, it might sound good. To your friends and family, it might sound great. But no, you need to know what people are looking for. And speak to other founders, maybe pitch to them and see what they think, right? That could be helpful as well. Or your friend who works in a VC. And then now what I would think is the best practice is also to try and keep your cap table simple.
Yes.
The reason why is that if you raise from 30 friends and family and angels at your pre-seed, when it comes time for your first institutional to come on board, and at that moment in time, you will end up having maybe 3 institutionals and these 30 investors and then a couple of co-founders. And you may end up with, let's say, around 45 participants on your cap table.
Yes.
That is a messy cap table. The 30 participants that you had, each with smaller checks, maybe sub $100,000, so sub maybe 10, are there to support you and give you and also ride the economic upside.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
A certain major change in your business, or 45, and having 45 signatures and chasing 45 signatures is very tedious.
Yeah.
Right? With rolling these friends and family and angels into a vehicle, suddenly you have, let's say you had 45, 30 were angels, suddenly you have 6 signatures to go after.
Okay, so will there be
That's
like
much
lead
easier.
investors from that cluster of participants? Or?
So it depends on what structure you use. You know, they could be rolled manually and they'll elect someone.
Okay.
Sometimes they can elect the founder to be the signatory. And the reality, again, goes back to the person who gave you $10,000 on day one and opened all the doors for you and supported you is now handing the keys over to the institutional round. and the institutional investor to say, now you take it forward. My time is not done. I'll
Yes.
still open doors, right? But I'm here now to ride the economic upside. Like and so that's the way it should be treated. So you should not be seeking their signature every time you want to change auditor
Yeah.
or something, right? It should, unless you want to, right? Yeah. And some participants, some key angels, you'd want to keep them on your cap table, right? They're big names.
Yes.
And they're useful, and sure. But that's the kind of thinking. There's no one size fits all, but you need to think about what keeps your business nimble as you grow, because you're a founder and you have a million things to deal with every day.
Yes.
And the fact that your angel investor is in Cannes on holiday and can't be reached for a signature holding up your whole round should not be a topic that you should worry about.
Absolutely. We had a similar structure in our previous startup, and we were chasing after one angel investor who has multiple businesses, but he's not in the country, and we need his signature to change our bank account, and that's a mess.
Exactly.
Because all the transactions are taking place in that account.
Sure.
But if that account is going to be frozen, a lot of transactions will bounce, we will not receive the payments, and we had to wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And it's always there subconsciously. It affects your day-to-day work.
Absolutely.
Okay, that we need to work on this. But if there was something simpler, as you mentioned, that we don't need for the simple work, that's one of the angels to be a signatory there. The co-founder should be enough. But early days, we usually go with it, and it's a price we pay.
I mean, but obviously, like this same angel investor that helped you was there for you day one.
Absolutely,
You know?
and
their intentions are super great.
Exactly.
You know? But they have multiple businesses and they're busy as well, right?
Yeah.
As you have a business, and
True.
And so that's what this simpler cap table means, is that as long as everything is best practice and they are protected through and through for whatever it is, so as long as the setup is correct, they helped you on day one, they've handed over to the institutionals now, they're a supporter, they open doors, but if you want to open a bank account, you don't need their signature. That's exactly what a simpler cap table is meant to help you with. Yeah.
Okay, for the listeners, they're always interested in the tips and tricks that are there for fundraising. So usually they have their own checklist. But if they have to have a universal checklist for them to consider meeting with investors, what would that be? Because in this region, there are only a limited amount of VCs you can reach out to. And sometimes you have to look outside the region to be an investor or an angel investor. Any tips on that? Because you've been through the pre-seed, seed, and very soon a new announcement.
My key advice is leverage your network and your network's network, because we're all connected in one way or another. Keep the momentum going. Don't let it die off, which also means, don't raise before Eid or before summer or before Christmas. Pick the right windows. Just like IPOs have windows, fundraising have windows. Be ready to answer anything, anytime, very quickly. And if you get a special question, prepare it and turn it around very quickly. Investors really appreciate that. And your preparedness shows confidence in your business and your ability to, and it reflects how you run your business.
Okay.
And I think these are the key 3 things that I've learned. And that enabled us to go from a longer, several month seed to a 6-week pre-A.
Wow. It's quick.
Yeah. And I'm really a true believer that you get an email at 11 p.m. Well, you know what? Try and reply by 11:30 if you can.
Yes.
Sure, if you're online, okay? Or at least the next morning, right? Keep it going. Keep it going, Own the process. Lead the process, kind of try and hold it yourself. If you can do that, and the investor sees that, it'll at least you'll get a quick yes or a quick no.
That's better.
Yeah. It's better than I'm not sure,
That's painstaking.
Yeah. So those are the key 3 things I think I'd like founders to focus on.